This video is made possible by Napleton Subaru in Schaumburg. If you're looking for a new Subaru product in the Chicagoland area, Napleton Subaru in Schaumburg is the best place to buy. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. Up front is a 2.5 liter flat 4, and down below is a CVT. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Crosstrek Wilderness because this is one of my most anticipated vehicles of the year. The Subaru Crosstrek has always been one of my favorite vehicles in this segment, but now they've given it the Wilderness treatment, which we're going to talk a lot about. It's a very off-road oriented vehicle, which I'm excited to share with you. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. Before we get back to that drivetrain, let's talk about what makes the Wilderness different than the other Crosstreks, and let me tell you, it is not just an appearance package. Well, first, right off the bat, it gets the all-terrain Yokohama Geolander tires. These are specific for the Wilderness, with 17-inch flat black wheels, 1 inch smaller than the limited trim levels, so you get a little bit more cushion there. It does have a revised transmission gearing for climbing, and we're going to talk a lot about that with the driving feel. Strengthened rear differential. It has 9.3 inches of ground clearance as opposed to the 8.7-inch ground clearance of all the other Crosstreks. It has a front skid plate, improved approach angle bumpers, 3,500-pound towing capacity, where all the other Crosstreks are only 1,500. That is all thank you to that revised transmission. Anti-glare hood decal, standard roof rails that can support 700 pounds, water repellent StarTech seats, close ratio steering rack, which cuts almost a foot off of your turning radius, going from 35.44 feet to 34.78 feet. Unique fog lights, low luster side mirrors, and 0.1 inch more cargo room. I don't know how Subaru was able to add such a minuscule amount of cargo room, but according to their website, it does physically have slightly more cargo space. All of that wrapped up together makes the Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness a more off-road ready and more adventure ready Crosstrek than the other trim levels. But let's get back to that 2.5 liter flat 4 under the hood, making 182 horsepower. Well, there are two engines currently offered in the Crosstrek. The Wilderness only comes with the 2.5 liter, but if you do select the base model, you will get a 2.0 liter that makes around 150-ish horsepower. So this is the upgraded engine, does have a little bit more punch, and like I said, with that revised transmission gearing for the Wilderness, it actually is a little bit punchier. It has a lower first gear, which is better for climbing, but it also gives it a little bit more punch off the line, which is very, very nice to see and feel. This is also a flat 4 boxer style engine like Subaru uses in all of their products, so par for the course at that point. Like I said, paired to it is a CVT. Subaru only uses CVTs unless it is a manual transmission vehicle like the Subaru WRX or BRZ. However, they have dropped the manual option for the Crosstrek starting here for the 2024 model year. Last but not least, this does have Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system. All of the Subaru Wilderness ads will brag about it, but every single Subaru Crosstrek comes with the all-wheel drive system, so it's not actually specific to the Wilderness itself. How does it feel to actually drive? Well, there's two things I wanted to talk about. First of all, that transmission does make it punchier and more fun to drive at the bottom end. It feels peppier than the other vehicles before it. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that it actually has a slightly softer ride because it has a little bit more suspension travel than other Crosstreks of the past. So with that added ride height that was achieved by different suspension that they give to it, so it actually does have a nicer ride than other vehicles. So really, really love to see that. Otherwise, visibility is good, steering is good. Like I said, it has that slightly closer ratio steering, which isn't super noticeable at high speeds, but definitely in turning circles it is. And overall, I really enjoy the driving experience of the Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have two physical gauges and a screen. Off to the left is my tachometer and coolant temperature, and off to the right is my speedometer and fuel. Along with that customizable little gauge in the center, I love the information information that it gives you. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our skip track, source, information, phone options, and volume. And off to the right, we do have our adaptive cruise control as well as our drive modes. This comes with Subaru's EyeSight system, which I think is very good for their adaptive cruise and safety features, as well as I have S and I mode. S is going to be sportier. I is going to be intelligent. It's going to be less sporty, but a little bit more fuel efficient. Around the back, we do have paddle shifters for the CVT if you want to do that. And off to the left, we do have a climate control vent and our gauge dimmer switches. Not a whole lot going on over there. Moving on to the door, we have our power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. And moving into the center, we do get our big infotainment system. Now, every Crosstrek gets this exact system. Besides the base model, it's actually broken up between two different screens, which is very interesting, and you'll see here. So this is the upgraded screen as well, and I pleasantly enjoy it. I don't love the fact that my climate controls are run through the screen, just in case anything does happen to my screen. I want to be able to still adjust those climate controls, and I don't get that option here in the Crosstrek. Is it the end of the world? No, but something I would have liked to seen. This does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both of which are wireless. And here is what the camera system looks like, in case you were curious. Down below, we do have a USB-A and USB-C, as well as an aux input. So all of your wonderful options there. And we have our wireless charger. This is an option. However, it is a $0 option. So your Crosstrek Wilderness might not get it, but most of them do. Speaking of options, we do have the Harman Kardon sound system, which is a over $2,000 option. So that does play in with the price of this vehicle at $37,000. You could get it for around $35,000 if you don't select the Harman Kardon. But moving back into the center stack, we do have the shifter, of course, finished with these bronze stitching to show that it is a Wilderness. And off to the left, we do have our power parking brake, but interestingly, no brake hold.
It should actually be noted, you can do vehicle hold. It's just found in the screen and not a button. Really wish that it was a button and not in the screen.
And off to the right, we have our heated seat options, of which these buttons have stuck around since like the mid-2000s. So still holding on to those old switches, Subaru. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Then we do have cup holders. We'll do a big freaking bottle test, and it fails just like the other two 2024 Subaru Crosstreks that I have filmed. Then we do have a 12-volt outlet by the cup holders. I think this is really smart positioning from Subaru. Little center console with nothing in it, and then we'll talk about the seats. The seats are finished in StarTex, which is a water repellent material. So when you're out on the trails, you get in with your muddy coat on. It's not going to ruin your seats. They're easily cleanable, and that's what Subaru wanted for the Wilderness. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness, and a couple of things to note. First of all, we do have USB-A and USB-C chargers back here. No rear climate vents, however, would have liked to have seen that. Fold down center armrest with two cup holders. Knee room is pretty good. You know, I am sitting up straight. My knees are just a hair from touching the front seats. And my head, without my sunglasses on, is not hitting the ceiling. So being a 5'11", not small guy, I actually fit back here, which can't really be said about every vehicle in this category, especially one of this car's competitors, or at least the non-Wilderness version's competitor, the Mazda CX-30. I have trouble fitting back there. So the Crosstrek does feel a little bit more spacious than that. Speaking of space, however, let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Subaru Crosstrek. Now, I do have a popper button, but that just kind of unlocks it. I don't actually have a power tailgate, which is to be expected out of a Subaru Crosstrek. None of them do. Once we are back here, we do get a nice privacy cover you could pull out. Some lights over here. Are they LED? No. Would have liked to have seen LED. But otherwise, nothing too crazy. There is a giant cup holder back here that will fit the big freaking bottle. These are the standard floor mats. Of course, we want to preserve these for the first owner. And once we come down here and pull this up, we do get a spare tire. So it's not a full-size spare. It is a donut safe. Space saver spare. Say that 5 times fast. Space saver spare. Safe space. Anyway, but you do get a spare tire. So a lot of newer vehicles don't even give you that option. It's just fix a flat, which when out on the trails, you definitely want a spare tire. So this is the rear cargo space of Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness. Now we got to talk about the looks, and this is finished in Alpine Green. What a wonderful color this is. They have a lot of really great colors. They got rid of cool khaki, which was really sad for me, but I really do like this Alpine Green. This is probably the color that I would get mine in. I sort of like the muted, almost khaki green, army green kind of look to it, especially in a vehicle that was designed and built to be more rugged than its other siblings. However, with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving yet another 2024 Subaru Crosstrek, but the Crosstrek Wilderness, which I was so incredibly excited to review. Subaru waited a few months before releasing it, so here we are, December of 2023, we're finally driving it. Well, in short, I think this is the best iteration of the Crosstrek so far. I've always really liked the Crosstrek. I've always had an affinity for them, and I've always said that when my girlfriend does end up needing a car at some point in the future, this is probably the avenue that we'll take. And driving the 2024 Crosstrek Wilderness reinstates that idea. These cars are wonderful. I love the size of them. They're not too big, not too small. I love the capability of a regular Crosstrek, and now throwing the Wilderness on top of that. The towing capacity is insane. How they squeeze 2,000 extra pounds of towing capacity just by switching the transmission is insane. The extra ground clearance is nice. You get about an inch extra ground clearance, but not only that, with the high approach angle bumpers, it adds even more rock crawling and trail crossing ability. It has a more sturdy roof rack that is standard that can hold up to 700 pounds. So you, another, and a tent should fit on top just fine. I've driven all-wheel drive Subarus off-road, and their all-wheel drive system is wonderful. I really do praise them. I think the symmetrical all-wheel drive is very, very good. And as someone that frequents national parks, I've made it my goal to go to 5 national parks every year since 2020, and I've been able to achieve that. I've seen some very wonderful, very beautiful parts of our country through our national park system. This seems like the perfect car for that. The reason I say that is because there are off-road trails to get to some trailheads that are rough and tumble and are not recommended for average economy cars, especially two-wheel drive ones. But at the same time, I don't live near any national parks. It's always a very long drive to get there. And the reason I say the Crosstrek is so good for that is because I've driven Ford Broncos, I've driven Jeep Wranglers, and while yes, they kick butt off-road, getting them to the off-road site is a pain. They drive like covered wagons. I don't want to experience the Oregon Trail while going on vacation. And so that's where the Crosstrek really shines, is that it does have the ability to drive normally. It has the ability to act and drive and feel like a normal automobile on the road, and yet it also has that off-road capability. It doesn't punish me for wanting the best of both worlds. It welcomes me with open arms. And that is one of the many reasons why the Crosstrek Wilderness is so dang good. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Napleton Subaru in Schaumburg for letting me take out their Crosstrek Wilderness. These are hard to keep on the lot, and so they made sure that I was able to drive one. They are absolutely wonderful. I cannot recommend them enough. Top-notch service, and if you're in the market for a new Subaru, they should be your first stop. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.